So it's been a couple of days since you got in the accident, Danny, and how are you feeling?
A lot better.
Your face looks a lot better.
Yeah. It's still black and blue around here a little bit. A few little scabs.
Yeah. Is your leg doing any better?
Yeah, it's just sore. Let's see what we got here. It's still red, swollen.
Yeah. Got that road rash.
Yeah, right here. I put it in hot water. It stings like hell. But
Well,
I've been soaping it up and keeping it clean.
Yeah, it looks like it ain't doing too bad.
Sore though.
When it first happened that first day, we thought you had a concussion. You probably did,
Yeah.
and you were limping, and you were dizzy. But with all of what you were dealing with then, you're definitely feeling better though.
Much better, yeah. I was watching the video when you came and evacuate me. That's right after the accident. And I seen it in my eyes that I had a concussion. I seen that there was something wrong with me. But it's funny because I didn't notice it at that time. But I'm watching myself afterwards. I realized that.
That's usually how it goes.
At the end of the video. And what's funny is that I landed on my side. And I didn't realize that I got my arm and my shoulder hurts from landing on it. But I didn't fit in my rib. The rib I felt today, the shoulder I felt that evening. It's weird because I was more concentrating on my leg and on my face that was hurting the most. And yeah, my whole side of my face and my head was hurting. And, thanks to you, you guys are taking care of me. Appreciate that.
How's it been staying over here now?
Now, this is great. It's different. I love it. You got a beautiful home and it's peaceful. I want to take a walk up the woods, see if I can come down with Bigfoot.
You're not. You're going to come back with a bunch of ticks, Danny. That's all that's in it.
Yeah.
Ticks, bugs, and spiders.
No, I don't like those things, yeah. But I love it here. I'm homesick. It's crazy because I just got the apartment.
Just got it.
But, this is a vacation here.
Well, hopefully the apartment's still there when we get back. I don't want to say anything crazy, but
I know, it floated away, huh?
it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, it's good to have you over here, Danny. It's good that, you don't got to be in a flood zone. And it's just been trying to get you to rest and recuperate because you definitely sustained some injuries taking that tumble.
Yeah, my family are so grateful to you. My brothers and sisters, they were telling me to get out of there once they found out the hurricane was coming. And I was living on the A zone, Zone A, which is coastal area. And what's funny is that we have a 15-minute rain and the whole street is flooded. Imagine it rained for 5 days.
Yeah, and it's raining now.
It's starting to come down now.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, man.
Yeah, I feel great. Thank you. Thanks to you. A lot of ibuprofen, rest, hot water, and keeping the cuts clean. Yeah, what happened was I was, talking about water flooding. I was heading to the store, so I took a road and taken a shortcut, but there was a whole bunch of water there. It wouldn't let me by, so I come up on the gravel, and I go all the way around thinking that and then when I get on the other side, the water was even deeper. So I had to come back, swing back around, and as I took the corner, very slow, but it was enough that when I hit the gravel and I tried to stop, not realizing I used the front brake, I shouldn't have used it. It went underneath me, and then I hit the gravel face first. I had my helmet, but the helmet didn't even touch the ground. It was my face right here, hit it. And when I went like that, in my leg, I felt it. I felt that thump. Two guys were just right in front of me. I was more embarrassed, really, than anything. They came out to help me, and I stopped them. But I asked them for tissue because I started bleeding from my face and my leg. I got back on the bike and I was dizzy. I shouldn't have. I don't know why. It was my instincts. I should have sat down for a while. I got in and started driving. But I had difficulty driving. I made it to where I was going. I think I made it back to the house. Not too long after that, that's when I got a call from David that they're going to come and get me. Pretty much I kind of didn't want to leave. But Dave insisted if I don't come, they're going to kidnap me. So I had no choice. I didn't want no drama. I already had drama with the gravel beat me up. I couldn't go for anything for another round. But anyways, I'm glad they came pick me up because I was kind of worried about what would happen because, you know, like I said, with that type of water coming, if the water hits the electricity, it can turn into a fire at the house. If I step on the water and there's a live wire in it, I can get electrocuted. I mean, there's just so much happening. You know, the windows can blow out, a tree can fall over. You know, it's just anything can happen. So, and plus, I didn't do shopping yet. That was another concern. I didn't have really no food there.
Well, we got plenty of stuff here for you, Danny, and you definitely been chilling since you've been here. But I definitely want to get you in the captain's chair. I'm getting ready to show you the captain's chair upstairs.
Okay.
And we're getting ready to talk about some real crazy stuff. So
Sounds good. Sounds good.
So Danny, what do you think about this? You're sitting in the captain's chair right now.
Yeah, I hear you.
You ever seen anything like this before?
Never did. It's definitely cool though. Yeah.
This is where I film all the videos at when I'm at the house.
I feel like this is the spotlight right here.
This is the Hollywood stage right here,
Yes,
Danny.
sir.
You made it to the big time, brother.
Thank you.
You sent me a bunch of pictures.
Mm-hmm.
These were pictures that you took in prison. Talk to me a little bit about taking pictures in prison.
Back when I was in prison, when we was taking pictures, the only type of pictures, if I recall, in the 70s were Polaroid cameras. And I think that one, probably to the late 90s where they changed it. But there were the instant Polaroid cameras. I took quite a bit of them. I think they were like $1.50 each at the time. You get 2 photos.
You know, when you look back on these pictures now, what is it like to see these pictures from back then?
Wow, I was a young buck back then. It brings a lot of memories. They're bad memories. I mean, the pictures were fine. The pictures, it was a good day because I was able to take pictures. And those pictures, a lot of them remind me of what I've accomplished. We'll be speaking on each and every one of them, I believe. The only ones I really appreciate were the ones when I was working out. This one was taken in September 20th, 1986. That was the beginning of the competition, of the power team competition in Walpole State Prison. I worked out 4 years to develop the type of power that I had at the time. In here, on this picture, I have 395 pounds on my neck, and I'm just posing there for the camera. And of course, I have a friend who's squatting. He was a good friend of mine. It's been so long, I don't remember his name, but I know he was a good friend of mine. Yeah, it was in the yard, in the prison yard, and I'm holding close to 400 pounds, 395. That was nothing. At that time, I was able to take 325 and jump in the air and bend the bar without no wraps on my legs, on my back, or nothing. Not even a weight belt. I was extremely powerful. And I was probably weighing about $140, but all cut up. The next one, I'm just posing there with a little bit of muscle, all cut up, smoking a cigarette with my hat backwards. That was the prison yard. I just probably came out of workout, most likely I did. I used to work 4 times a day. That's all I did is worked out. My secret for protein was peanut butter. And I used to make like an energy drink. I used to use a lot of fruits, eggs, the yolk, the white part, and peanut butter, and used to put in the blender because I was working in the kitchen. That was my protein drink right before I worked out and afterwards. And pretty much a lot of it was eating a lot of peanut butter. It had a lot of good protein. That was back in 1986. I was really cut up. I was weighing probably about, like I said, $142, and I was pretty cut up. I was just beginning here. Had a pretty decent shape. The next photo. Oh, jeez, yeah. This was the competition. In fact, my mother snapped this. My mother was alive then. She came to the competition, the weight competition. It was a powerlifting team. All the prison lifters, everybody that was signed up to lift for the competition, they were representing their prison, came to this competition. And we all got bussed there. We got busted. Of course, it was security and everything. And it was funny because I had a neck chain. I had a choker. It wasn't really, it was a choker, but it wasn't really tight on my neck. And my mother gave it to me. And she had taken a picture, and it's not on this one. Actually, it is on this one. And because as I'm lifting, each position that I'm going up to straighten my back, a deadlift, you pick it up like this and you bring it up and you straighten your back. By the time I got up to here, the necklace has snapped because my neck just blew out. And the necklace, and when my mother took a picture, the necklace was right here. It was like it's, how can I say the word I'm looking for? It was remarkable how you can catch something that has just happened at that moment and just catch it on picture. It's beautiful. Moving on here, the next one, I'm kneeling down, squatting with a bunch of guys that I used to hang with in prison. Those are my buddies. And a lot of them are from Puerto Rico. Definitely straight from Puerto Rico, from the island. We got one guy there who's an El Salvadorian, throwing up his thing, his finger sign. That's how I remember he was from El Salvador. And this is the crew that I used to kick it with a lot in the yard. Like I said, back in the times, pretty much it was everybody stood with their own race. We was able to associate with others, but it's just the way it was, you know. Up north is very, very extremely racial, unfortunately. The next one is another group of guys that I kicked it with. Yeah, I'm in the middle, flexing my arms. I have a shirt that I cut it off myself. And they also, all of them are from Puerto Rico. Actually, no, except for Brian Paez. You know, it's funny because he was accused of a murder he never did. He was accused of a murder, and the individual who did it never owed up to it. And it was a family member. That's sad, yeah. He was given life for murder that he didn't serve, that he didn't do. His his cousin there, Billy was there. They're black. They were good friends of mine. I brought them into the picture because they're family. As we go on, in fact, the next one is, we got Billy and Brian and myself. It's sad because Billy did an OD in prison. Apparently, his girl was bringing up some stuff, and the people who packaged it on the street didn't like Billy, so they put a hot shot. And when he shot it up, he died. They poisoned him. And they got away with that. That got me really mad because he's a good dude, but he got into a lot of trouble. I remember one time I was coming out the building. I was first, then Billy, and then Brian. And a dude was waiting for him right outside the door. The guy had a lock with a pair of socks in it. And when he swung, he thought I was Billy. I ducked underneath. The lock went around me. And when it went around me, Billy hit him in the face and dropped him, and Brian just jumped on him. And I said, Billy, man, you gotta tell me what you're getting involved in here, man. Because everywhere I walk, you know, I'm in the middle of your issues. But he was a great guy. He just chased the dope. He was a dope chaser, and you know, when you're chasing that type of stuff in prison, it never really gets you nowhere. Brian is still in prison though. What I understand, he's doing life. I wish I could find him. I'd like to say hi to him, an old friend. The next picture here is I got a couple of guys behind me. I can't really see their face, and I don't really recall this picture. But yeah, we're chilling in the yard. We're sitting on the bench, and I guess the sun is reflecting on something that it kind of, you can't see the two guys sitting there with me. Oh, this is one of my Sunday special here. I'm dressed with a white shirt, casual with a pair of khaki. Back then, we were allowed to wear street clothes. That all stopped, I think, like in 96, 95, but I was in DDU at the time. That's when I did the 7 years down in segregation. They stopped it. They brought in prison clothes. They took all the personal properties out of there. What happened was, I guess in Norfolk, there was an officer. They wear street clothes. They don't wear uniforms in Norfolk, and apparently he went into a guy's room to shake it down. Shake it down is when they're searching for weapons, drugs, or whatever contraband, excuse me, that they can find. So the guy is coming back who's in that cell Well, these are rooms. Norfolk has room. Walpole has cells. So when he went back to his own room, he seen a guy there going through his stuff. So he ended up jumping the guy, stabbing the guy. And unfortunately, it wasn't a correctional officer shaking it, but he thought it was a regular inmate trying to steal his stuff. So he acted as if he had known he was an officer. I doubt very much he would have did something like that. But because of that, the color code of clothing changed. Officers had to wear uniforms, and prisoners had to wear prison uniforms. They took all the clothes out because of that incident. I have here a thing that I collected while I was in prison, and I always really loved it, you know, because it has a lot of truth in it. And I'm going to read it to you. It says, Ye, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for I am the meanest son of a bitch in the valley. And, you know, I really thought that I was, you know, that I was the meanest son of a bitch. I like that. I like that phrase. It had a lot of meaning. It touched home. I think you have to be. You have to be to survive in Walpole State Prison. You have to be mean. You have to be one of the toughest individuals, because that's the only people that were allowed there. And like I said to you in one of the videos in the past, drug dealers did not stay there. The only ones that stayed there was the extreme people who had violent crimes behind them, who went there for serious crimes. They stayed in Walpole. Even if it was 5-10 years, you stay there because of the nature of your charges. Drug dealers didn't stay there. Low offense people didn't stay there. They moved on to a medium security, like Norfolk and other places. They had Bridgewater. They had other facilities. I did some drawings in there also. I did one with a skull face with a blue cape on it. I also drew a woman inside of a spider web with flames around it. On top is the skeleton, the one that I just described, with the blue cape on. And this one had horns on top of his head with two cobras, king cobra snakes coming on the side. And underneath it, I did in a cloud of smoke, it says, the Queen of Death. And I mean, I did a lot of drawings in prison. I spent a lot of times drawing. I love sketching. All my tattoos are done by me. I sketched them and I had them tatted on me. I don't like to copy other people's stuff or go in magazines. I like to have original stuff. I have, I got my cousin here when he escaped from Salem jail. He turned into a real punk. He was my favorite. In fact, you know what's crazy is that I was only a kid and he was in his 20s. I was like probably 14 years old. He was like 19, 18. And to me, he was a hero. I thought he was one of the meanest, toughest individuals that I've ever met, and he was. And unfortunately, my father never wanted me with him because he didn't want me to pick up any negative stuff from him. Him and I got along very well. He was my hero. And I wanted to be like him. I wanted to be mean and tough like him and be respected like he was. And it's funny because I bumped into him in prison when I first went to Walpole. And him and I spent time together alone talking. He says, you know, he said, cuz, you know, you a legend. You my hero. And I looked at him, I said, you're crazy. You've been at this game longer than I have. I look up to you. You know, you're the man. He said, nah. He said, what I've accomplished in a lifetime of negativity and violence, you did it in such a short time. And you did it to a point that it over-amplifies me. And I looked at him, and at that time I was young, and I was hungry for that reputation. And so I took it as a compliment. I don't take it that way anymore. But I don't blame him because I chose, you know, to get in that path of violence. But, you know, he did told me that. He did told me that. He stopped associating with me because he feared me. I feared him. And then he turned around and ended up fearing me. But yeah, he escaped from Salem jail back in 1982. That was a very interesting story too. He got stopped by a stupid traffic ticket. I'm going to share one here, very personal, with my son visiting me when he was a boy. This was done in the visiting room here. I'm going to send you this, Joe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's like 4 or 5 years old, my son. I've really seen him very highly in prison. Shout out to Danny Jr. What's up, son? You know, I love you, regardlessly how you feel. I still love you. Still my boy. Yeah, that's my son. He looks totally different now. He's a very handsome boy now. He's doing good for himself, which is good. I'm proud of him.
What was that like getting visits like that?
Oh, man, I tell you, you know, I lived for visits back then because, you know, I mean, I go through a long period of time. And Walpole was a little distance from where my family was at. Goes to show you that I did have family contact. That's the only thing I really had and the only thing I really appreciated. Actually, it gave me a sense of family value because I can say there was at one time that I didn't even really care. Not that I disliked my family or hated them, but I didn't give them the attention that they deserved until I went to prison, and they always was there. And I learned how to appreciate family and how important it was to have family. And for that reason why is I love them unconditionally. I don't care what they say or do to me. I'll always love them, you know, because I feel that they earn that and they deserve it, you know. I would do anything for them. To get a little bit more dramatic about it, I would give my life so that they can live. That's how much I love them unconditionally. That's family love. The pictures that I just shared with you was the first ones that I did in my first bid in the state bid to 24 years. That's where I went from 10 block, 10 years, and I went to 7. I did the 7 at DDU, which you guys already seen that in the earlier videos. They bring memories, they bring good memories because of what's in the picture. But it allows me to remind outside of the picture where I took them at, which it was prison. But they mean a lot to me because it was a time where I spent so many years away from my children, my family, and these pictures is what helped me to continue doing them 24 years, to allow me not to let my anger overwhelm me and turn this anger towards my family, because it happens a lot to a lot of people. It's sad. But these pictures always kept me in place. It kept me rooted. And it's funny because the pictures that I do have, the majority of them are with family. You know, they will send me pictures, or they will come up and we'll take pictures in the visiting room. And I think it was like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. No, maybe 4 hour visit. There were 4.5 hour visit. But they helped me to do my bit. They kept me, always remembered that, listen, there's people out there that love you. And it kept me strong. And that's why I cherish them, and they're valuable to me in that sense, sentimental. I don't like the fact that I was in prison, but heck with it, I was there. But I always kept them with me. And you know what's funny? These pictures here, I personally did not have them no more. I lost them along. These pictures was actually returned back to me, 2 photos, by the people that I was sending them. I was surprised they had them, especially the ones lifting, weightlifting. I had a lot more, but I don't know, I'm still tracing them down. I think I might have them in my stuff, packed away still in storage, which I gotta go through it soon, which I'll share it with you guys eventually.